please do. Or if you have any questions or anything like that, please post them on my Facebook page, Faye Waterman Radio Presenter. You'll find it there. Or you want to make any comments on our live today. And I'm here with Niels, and he's written a book called My Strong Mind, and that's for children between the age of 5 and 8, and I can't wait to read it. We're having this great conversation here today.
We do.
About just resilience and challenges and coaching and creating awareness. Okay, what else do we need to talk about?
Or maybe how to apply it at home a little bit more with your kids.
All right, so you've got 2 girls.
Yes, 9 and 7.
9 and 7.
Yeah, almost 10, yeah.
How do you apply these sorts of things to your children?
Well, they're both quite different, so I apply different things on them as well, but all the examples in the book are actually based on their on examples from their life. Mm-hmm. But the youngest one, for example, can't really focus. If she has to get ready in the morning and brush her teeth, you find her in another room playing, while the oldest has no issue with that. She just gets ready. So we let her make a little plan, a little starboard of all the activities, what she had to do in the morning to get ready, and we tick them off in the morning, make a bit of fun around it, and that's the commitment element of mental toughness. You commit to a task, and that's how we sort of in a playful way let her plan it, but then also commit in the morning to do those tasks to get ready.
And that's what we were saying before, commitment and consistency. So getting up in the morning, getting what you need done so that you have more time to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, and creating that awareness. If they have that time where they get themselves organised, have their breakfast, have everything ready to walk out the door, they might have 10 minutes more that they can play.
And playtime is after you finish your checklist.
Yes.
So all the time you've left after, it's for play. Not
free
before.
time.
It's free time.
Free time.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a little reward there in the end. Yes.
Yeah. And with your older daughter, so she is more structured.
Yes. Yeah.
More committed to getting organised and being organised.
Yes.
So does that come from your side or her mum's side?
It definitely comes from my side, we think.
From your side, you're the structured one.
Yes, I'm the structured one.
Yeah, right. Okay, and her mum's not?
I won't say that. I'd laugh.
On the premise that she might kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She might be on Facebook now. No, but that's why they're quite different. So my oldest one, she made at least once, ready, done. But for example, we talked a lot to her about challenging herself in front, doing new things in front of a group. She's a bit perfectionistic, and a cartwheel example in the book, which she didn't want to do in front of her friends because she wasn't good at it yet. But you have to practice to become good at it. So you have the conversation of, getting out of your comfort zone, and every skill comes with practice. And now, she knows that.
And it's repetition, isn't it?
And it's her choice if she wants to be good at a cartwheel or not.
Yeah.
Well, the youngest one, she just goes out in front of the crowd and...
She doesn't care.
She doesn't care. So again, totally different.
I wish I had that confidence just to get out in front of the crowd and just do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah. It's funny to see the differences though in those 2 girls. Yeah.
But that's great because you have that comparison.
Yeah.
And you can see the different behaviours and have an understanding, because when you're dealing with other people and you're coaching them, you can see the differences.
Yeah, exactly. And I can apply we do apply different things on them. The oldest one, if somebody's mean to them, she doesn't really care. She just walks off. And the youngest one gets really upset. So again, a bit of that emotional control. How do you deal with those emotions?
Yeah.
How big is your problem? Between 1 and 5, it's on the fridge. So those little techniques we again help the young one with to identify, how big is your problem? What could your emotional reaction to that be?
Yeah, and that's actually creating that awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Giving them great skills to, when something does happen that they get a little bit emotional or upset about, they can actually take a step back and analyse it by looking at how big they feel that problem is. And when and that gives them time to get away from it so that they can assess it in a different frame.
And and you can start a conversation with them just by putting that. It's on the fridge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How big is your problem? And then, I say sometimes, okay, have a look at the fridge. How big you think this problem is? And she stands in front of the fridge and has a look, and then we have a conversation about it. Yeah.
And what sort of conversation does she started, or do you start it?
Well, the other day,
depends.
like 1 or 2 days ago, we came in the house, and her room was a bit of a mess. Her sister played in her room, and she's like, my room is a mess, and really stamping her feet, almost crying. I'm like, okay, have a look at the fridge. How big is this problem, and can you solve it yourself? So she stands in front of the fridge, and then we have a, already she calmed already down by thinking, oh yeah, this might be. It's maybe not so bad, this, but it really helps to break up the anger and open up the conversation.
And create that reality and say, well, is it as bad as you're making it out to be?
Exactly.
It's not really that bad. Your arm's not broken, or your leg's not broken, or you haven't lost a limb, or you haven't dropped dead, or whatever. So putting it in perspective for them.
Once you call out, number 5s are emergencies. Somebody's hurt, something is broken, but number 1s, I can fix it myself. I can't find my pajama, I'll go looking for it, or clean up my room. Oh, it's actually not that bad. And again, that can be applied for kids as well as for adults.
Oh, more so for adults, I think. I think some adults can throw bigger tanties than kids.
Yeah, there's a bit of emotional control needed sometimes.
You can sort of think, oh, gee, I can sort of think of situations where I could really go off the handle.
Yes, that's one of my improvement opportunities.
And I think,
emotional control.
and just what do you do when you're feeling like that? Take yourself for a walk. Go and do some exercise. Go sit.
Breathe.
Yeah, breathe. Breathing is so important because a lot of the time when we get angry or anxious, we hold our breath. And that makes the situation worse because that tension tends to build greater when you're holding your breath.
It's the fight or flight response develops in your body. So just breathing, deep breathing helps. Going for a walk and count to 10, or what we call controlled distraction. You intensely focus on something
different.
Could be your watch, seconds, see the seconds move, anything to take your mind of the moment or of the anger.
And remove yourself from it. So remove yourself from that environment so that you're not stuck in there and it just can get bigger and bigger. Just remove yourself from that totally so that you can go away, do your breathing, count, or do whatever you do, and then calm down and think about it. And you may want to respond to it, not react to it, respond to it. But then you're in a better space to be able to go back and deal with it, or you may leave it for a few hours before you deal with it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
True. And one of the dangers is that 99.9% of times our fight or flight response is actually created by ourselves, by our own thoughts, not by an event. But again, thinking about
that's
the
our
past
story
in a negative way, or worry about the future. We develop that anxiety, and also there, when we create ourselves, just breathing, focusing, reframe our mind with positive talk. They're all interventions that help you create a stronger mind.
Absolutely, and it is. These are where we start creating stories, and the story can get bigger and bigger, and then you might go and tell someone else what happened, and that story gets a little bit bigger, and something else gets added to it. It's a little bit like Chinese whispers, isn't it? The story starts here, and when it gets to the end, there's this big story, and it's not even true.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just gotten bigger because someone else has added something to it, and it's just bigger than Ben-Hur.
And that really is part of the emotional control element of mental toughness.
So if you were to give, say, 2 or 3 tips for people who are in a workplace that they're not happy, or their environment at home they're not happy, or their struggling with their kids,
Yep.
what sort of things would you say to them?
They're all quite different examples. In the workplace one, I had a difficult time in workplace. Actually, it's one of the reasons I wrote a whole ebook, and I also wrote a blog about what I did to get through that. But if you're in a workplace or in a situation where you really struggle with this toxic, and number one is find meaning, and meaning can be your kids, if you're religious, your faith, or another community environment. Find an anchor. Which give you a bit more purpose, a bit more meaning in life, and you keep things, in perspective, basically.
Yeah.
You have a problem, but it's not the whole world. There's other things.
And is it really your issue, or is it someone else's, and you're taking it on board?
Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, is the issue in your control? Or is it out of your control? If you're in a toxic environment, just eat well, do your sports, those kind of simple
Sleep
things.
well.
Positive self-talk, so self-affirmations. You're more than just an employee. You're a mum, a dad, or an uncle, or whatever. You're good at something.
And you're worthy.
You're worthy. Work on your mastery. If you're a good guitar player, do more of it, or try something new. These are all, elements you can try to deal with that toxic environment. But to manage it, you have to be proactive and change out of the toxic environment, and that takes confidence and challenge again.
Yeah, because then you get into that self-doubt, don't you? You might need that job because that's how you pay your mortgage or your rent or buy food or do all that. So that's a stress in itself without being just in that toxic environment.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're a parent and you've got a child that's giving you a hard time, what sort of things would you suggest for the parent to do?
Again, a hard time can be many different things, but structure, I would say. A child needs structure.
And boundaries.
Boundaries.
Absolutely.
If you don't give them, then it comes back to you with a vengeance.
Yeah.
So they need structure. And reward as well, recognitions if they stick to that structure. So they know if they do a good job, they have that 10 minutes to play when they finish their task list in the morning. Can be those small things. But then if you go more into detail and they're getting angry quickly, it's about talking about emotions, what emotions makes them angry, and dig a little bit deeper on what things they don't like, how they react to that, and how they could respond to that.
Absolutely.
So that's a conversation you could have for a child that gets angry quickly, or loses their emotional control quickly. Yeah.
And a lot of the time you find that kids lose that because they see it in their parents.
Yes, they copy.
The behaviour.
Definitely, yes, yeah. And we have to remember the brain is not, finished developing yet. So they're more emotional. Their prefrontal cortex is not 100% developed, where sort of reasoning is done. So they are more emotional by default. Yeah.
And you see that behaviour. So what they see, they believe, and they act that out as well when something doesn't go their way. So they throw their tanties and do that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, what was the other one I said?
It
was
work, parents,
and
you have to rewind. I don't know.
Oh, rewind. I can't rewind. Oh, that's not.
Does it still exist?
Rewind. Okay. It was.
And I forgot too. Sorry.
I don't know. I can't remember. That doesn't matter because we've had two. We're coming to the end of our show. Now, I would like you to let people know where they can connect with you.
Yeah.
So, how can they connect with you? Is it on your website, Facebook?
Yeah, they can go to my website.
Which is
mentaltoughness.online.
mentaltoughness.online. I've been to it. And go and do the little
survey
that's there and send it in and see where you sit.
So I provide an introduction to mental toughness with some videos there. and you can do a survey to measure your own 15 characteristics of the mentally tough, and an ebook as well for $5 I sell there. So yeah, and I
Is the book available through the
yes,
website?
it's on my website, but I basically provide a link to
where
other
you can get it.
e-retailers. Yes,
Right.
If you just Google My Strong Mind, you will get to Amazon or something.
Okay, and what does it retail for?
$15.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah,
Pretty good
15.
price.
$15.
For a whole wealth of healthy mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and great for kids. So, you know, if you want to buy this for someone's birthday or something like that, all you have to do is go and look for My Strong Minds. And yeah, so is there anywhere else? Do you have a Facebook page or anything?
No, not yet. I might set up one, but
Actually, that'd probably be a good idea. I'm making a suggestion now that you set up a Facebook page to start conversations.
Yes, yeah, good idea.
Yeah,
Thanks.
start conversations, because you get lots, I reckon.
Yeah. No, I'm developing my website at the moment as well, and the Facebook page part of it will be a good thing.
Yeah, because you can have them interconnected and
Exactly.
all this techie stuff that I know nothing about. I know that you can do it, but that's all I know.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh God, I can't stand this techie stuff. It's just too hard for me. It's not my scene. I prefer to sit in front of the computer and sit in front of and then if the computer doesn't work, well, I can throw a little tenty.
Well, better not be here then. Or need to do some coaching on you then.
But it's been great having you here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Faye. It's great to be here.
Had a great conversation, and we'll say bye on Facebook